From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. 4.5 months into 2024, and the fate of the Farm Bill is as uncertain as ever.
We need a major restructuring now because of inflation, because of the fact for the last 2 years we've had the greatest drop in farm income in the last 100 years.
Michelle Rook has the latest from the Farm Bill listening session. Planters are slow to roll in the East.
The sins of planting will haunt you all season, and I think that is very, very true.
So what mistakes should you avoid at planting? We're tapping into the knowledge of two of the best this weekend. That's Ken Ferry and Missy Bauer. Hogzilla versus Jaws. Shocking new research on the reality of deaths from wild pig attacks.
Wild pigs are killing people at a rate, 2, 3, 4 times that of sharks. Not just great whites, but all species put together.
U.S. Farm Report, presented by Pioneer. What's next happens when the testing grounds meet the proving grounds. Pioneer. What's next happens here.
We begin with breaking news out of Washington on Friday. EPA issuing an emergency fuel waiver to allow E15 gasoline to be sold during the summer months. EPA says current estimates indicate E15 is 25 cents a gallon cheaper than E10, and that this move will provide Americans relief at the pump. Now, this isn't unprecedented. The Biden administration took similar action the past 2 years. Under the Clean Air Act, the EPA administrator is allowed to temporarily waive certain fuel requirements to address shortages. As expected, renewable fuels groups applauding the Biden administration for allowing the use of E15 this summer. Can a new farm bill get done by the end of 2024? Some members of the Senate Ag Committee hearing say yes, and they talked about it recently at a Farm Bill listening session in South Dakota. Ranking Member John Bozeman told attendees House Ag Committee Chair G.T. Thompson will release the chairman's mark in early May and has resolved the controversial SNAP changes. He says Farm Bill updates are needed to reflect today's market environment and tighter margins. That's why he says he and North Dakota Senator John Hoeven introduced the Farmers Act to make crop insurance more affordable.
And what we want to do is change crop insurance a little bit where it helps everyone more, but also is more accessible to some of the regions of the country where they're not able to use it as successfully.
Farm Bureau officials agree economic changes dictate a new bill, and timing is critical before it gets caught up in politics. We'll have the latest on the debate surrounding the Farm Bill coming up in our Farm Journal report. Vilsack testifying before the Senate Ag Appropriations Subcommittee, also giving his thoughts on the next farm bill. The secretary highlighting the loss of nearly 555,000 farms and 151 million acres of farmland the last several years as a reason to include farm programs for smaller farmers in the ag budget and new farm bill.
Senator Hoeven mentioned the farm bill. Obviously, we are anxious to work with the Congress to get that farm bill done, but I think it's going to be important for us to focus, in addition to production agriculture, on agriculture that also benefits and increases income streams for small and mid-sized farmers, because that's important to rural America.
Vilsack also providing an update on the highly pathogenic avian influenza and stated that APHIS is working with land grants on virus transmission to mammals, vaccines, as well as treatment. Now, the good news is there's been no negative trade implications so far. While we continue to watch for any new cases on avian flu in dairy cattle, there are new cases being reported in commercial flocks. Michigan officials reporting avian flu was discovered at a commercial poultry facility. They did not say how many birds were impacted. Currently, Michigan has 2 reported cases of HPAI in dairy cattle. And New Mexico is also reporting its first case of a virus in a commercial hatchery in Roosevelt County. APHIS did not say what type of hatchery was involved, but that more than 61,000 birds would be impacted. Until this week, New Mexico didn't have any commercial flocks affected during the outbreak. However, H5N1 has been confirmed in 6 dairy cattle herds in the state. That's it for the news. Well, we saw storms this week and then a cold front. We'll have a check of weather coming up next.